Major funding for NJTV News is provided in part by RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. NJM Insurance Group, serving the insurance needs of New Jersey residents and businesses for more than 100 years. And Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Tonight on NJTV News, pay raises left in limbo.
The weather kept the governor away from the firefighters' convention, but the rank and file were ready to give him an earful on salary arbitration caps.
A transgender rights bill twice vetoed by Governor Christie now sits on Governor Murphy's desk. So, will he sign it?
We're outside Senator Booker and Senator Menendez's state offices in Newark, where peace activists are demonstrating against the Israeli policy toward Gaza.
1 year after a prison dedicated to treating substance abuse opened in the state, we go inside to see how the inmates are doing.
And a showdown over shutting down an infamous nightclub. Call it karma. Those stories and more next on NJTV News.
Live from the Agnes Varus NJTV studio at 2 Gateway Center in Newark, this is NJTV News with Mary Alice Williams.
Hello, thank you for joining us. Governor Christie-era salary caps limiting raises for police and firefighters were said to have saved taxpayers a bundle. They've since expired, and firefighters who expected to hear whether Governor Murphy will reimpose them were disappointed today. Senior correspondent David Cruz reports.
Members of the Professional Firefighters Association of New Jersey were eager to meet their governor today. The union, which backed Murphy's gubernatorial bid, wanted to hear what he was prepared to do for them. And on that front, the state arbitration cap and municipal caps were high on the agenda.
So when they put that 2% cap on just arbitration, which just affected police and fire, that was a double cap on us. The 2% municipal cap and the 2% arbitration cap. So, you know, that was lifted as of January 1st, and 6 months, 5 months, there's been no
the world is still standing.
The world is still standing. The sky didn't fall.
Most of Murphy's union supporters, and there were many, expect that he will allow the state's arbitration cap to stay dead. He was expected here today, but couldn't make it down in time from an event in North Jersey because the state chopper wouldn't fly in the weather. When we asked him about it earlier this month, this is what he said.
I'm still looking for the report, which was due on December 31st.
Ali Cooper is a Camden firefighter. He says contrary to some of the rhetoric heard when the salary caps were imposed, most firefighters find it hard to make ends meet.
You just can't keep up. You know what I mean? That's why you actually see in our line of duty a lot of people with second jobs trying to keep up or maintain.
Several elected officials were here to address members, close to 200 from across the state. They talked about pensions and work rules and, yes, arbitration caps. While the legislative committee has yet to release a report on the impact of the caps, the Senate president said today that allowing the caps to sunset has yet to upset the state's financial apple cart.
So far, we haven't seen a problem. So as we see it, you know, if you start seeing like crazy raises, like large raises, like they did at Jersey City at the school district, well, then we're going to have a real conversation about the cap. But for now, there's nothing that has happened up to this point that I know of that has caused us to break the glass, you know, in emergency.
Republican Chris Brown is not so sure that the state cap should be allowed to die.
One of the realities is that the state simply is broke. And not only are we broke, we borrowed so much money that we're having trouble even bonding to borrow more. So any way that we can find to save money that's fair for the people who live, breathe, and work here in the state of New Jersey, at the same time being fair to those within the public sector, we have to work towards.
Several of the members we talked to made it clear that after endorsing the governor, they're interested to see how he will thank them for the vote of confidence. For some, Murphy's no-show, unavoidable or not, was not a good start. And some said they expected to skip the governor's video message, which they were promised was being worked on. In Atlantic City, I'm David Cruz, NJTV News.
In the wake of the worst outbreak of fighting since the border war between Israel and Hamas 4 years ago, protesters are demanding New Jersey's U.S. senators break their silence on the conflict. Chief political correspondent Michael Aaron reports.
Around noon today, the Associated Press reported Egyptian mediators have negotiated a ceasefire between the Palestinians in Gaza and the Israeli government. Ironically, that came at the same time as a pro-Palestinian protest in Newark. Gateway 1 houses Senator Menendez's and Booker's state offices. On the street below, about 24 demonstrators called on both senators to condemn Israel's recent behavior toward Gaza.
We're calling on them to speak out. When atrocities happen anywhere in the United States or anywhere around the world, they're quick to speak out. But they've been absolutely silent about these terrible things going on that Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International and the International Committee of the Red Cross have all said are serious human rights concerns.
A mixture of Jewish and Muslim groups took part in today's protest.
We speak especially as Jews who feel that this is being done in our name. It's not for us. This is not in our name. We don't agree with it, and we condemn it, and we want our senators to speak out too.
Israel and its supporters blame the Palestinians for inciting violence over the past 3 to 4 weeks. It's the worst warring between the two sides since 2014. 110 Palestinians have been killed, but no Israelis. Today's protesters say it all goes back to the Israeli takeover of the Palestinians' lands.
Isn't it the people of Gaza who started firing into Israel that started this?
The people of Gaza are responding to the years of atrocities that have been committed against them. There was peaceful demonstrations that were going on. And I believe the whole world has now waken up to see that they were innocent people who were massacred simply because of being demonstrators.
Menendez and Booker staffers say they met with some of the demonstrators later today and that the senators are open to dialogue. Mark Levinson is an ardent Israel supporter. He blames the Palestinians.
These are not people holding flowers and holding signs. They were burning tires. They were flying kites that they put on fire that burned Israeli fields. They were shooting with guns, grenades. Their goal was to breach Israel's border, to kill Israelis, to kidnap Israelis, to destroy infrastructure, to cause as much havoc as is humanly possible.
Israel, he said, was just defending itself.
The U.S. would do the same. Canada would do the same. Any country would do the same. You have to protect your border.
A small protest on a Newark street corner over a situation half a world away can seem totally insignificant, but we're all citizens of the world, and sometimes some of us just feel a need to speak out.
And now a Gaza-Israel ceasefire has been announced, and hope for a lasting peace can return. In Newark, I'm Michael Aaron, NJTV News.
As sin tax tops the state of New Jersey's business, Rhonda Schaffler is off tonight. Here with the business news is Leah Mishkin. Leah?
Mary Alice, that's exactly right. We'll begin with another item on Governor Murphy's proposed budget that is getting spotlight. This time, an anticipated new tax on e-cigarettes and tobacco products. The tax would get New Jersey roughly $59 million by raising the wholesale tax on tobacco products from 30% to 68%, and by putting a 75% wholesale tax on e-cigarettes. But the deputy treasurer said the administration is still finalizing those numbers to make sure they are competitive with neighboring states. Moving to Ocean County, where plans to shut down New Jersey's oldest nuclear plant are on track. It's been confirmed the first large wave of employees are leaving the company. Oyster Creek Generating Station's owners filed a notice with the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development that 84 employees will be terminating their work. But the company says the majority of the remaining employees will continue to work at the plant during decommissioning, and others not involved will have the opportunity to transfer. Well, a new report was released by the New York State Comptroller's Office, and it shows New Jersey ranks in the top 10 states with the highest total amount of credit card debt. at $29.6 billion. That's according to numbers by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. And finally, the Bayer and Monsanto merger is a step closer. Bayer won approval by the United States to move forward on plans to acquire Monsanto. In exchange, the company has to sell about $9 billion in assets. It's a big step towards finalizing the $62.5 billion deal, which would make it the largest pesticides and seeds maker. And now here's a look at the Dow. It closed up 300 points. And those are your top business stories.
New Jersey soon could have some of the most progressive gender identity policies in the nation. Brianna Vannozzi reports.
Not long after Aaron Potenza moved to New Jersey 10 years ago, a trip to the Motor Vehicle Commission highlighted a growing problem within the transgender community.
I brought all my paperwork, I brought my driver's license that said male, and they were sort of confused. After a few minutes, they said to me, well, okay, but in New Jersey we require proof of surgery.
Those requirements could soon change now that a package of transgender rights bills recently cleared the legislature and await Governor Murphy's signature. The largest measure allows residents to change their gender identity on a birth certificate without undergoing gender reassignment surgery. It requires a form under penalty of perjury stating the change is not for fraudulent purposes. A companion bill makes similar changes for death certificates.
A lot of trans people, for a variety of reasons, don't have these surgeries. And I think our society, our culture, the way we talk about this in the public sphere is often around an assumption that that is what makes you transgender, to have had that surgery.
Potenza, who works for Garden State Equality, says having documents that reflect how you identify doesn't just affirm a sense of self. It eliminates the potential for stigma and discrimination.
If you're showing documents that don't match how you live in the world, then you're outing yourself, which can be problematic in terms of employment. It's an issue for a lot of young people in schools.
If there's one thing that was the tipping point, is just to live my senior years without the horrors of a paperwork nightmare.
The bill is named after prominent transgender rights advocate Babs Sipperstein, who only made the decision to have reassignment surgery so she wouldn't face roadblocks to her health care.
If I've played one small part in that, before I leave this earth, it'll make me happy.
Another measure creates a transgender equality task force to review state programs and policies. Assemblywoman Valerie Venneri-Huddle championed the bills. Reached by phone, she said it solidifies the state's place as a national leader in transgender civil rights. Once signed, New Jersey joins just 16 other states and the District of Columbia in not requiring surgery or a court order to change the gender marker on a birth certificate. It'll also become only the third state in the country allowing residents to identify their gender as non-binary for persons who don't identify as male or female. In a statement, Governor Murphy's spokesperson said the governor looks forward to working with the legislature to make sure that no New Jersey resident is impacted by discriminatory practices.
Governor Christie vetoed the bill twice, saying it raised security concerns, opening opportunities for fraud and abuse, though opponents argue it was politically motivated by his presidential bid. Now they're hoping Governor Murphy's progressive agenda will see it through.
Pieces of paper and documentation doesn't dictate who we are as individuals. Who we are as a people dictates what's on those papers. So the law wasn't right before, it's been corrected, and now it's the way it should be.
Governor Murphy is expected to sign the bill sometime in June, coinciding with LGBT Pride Month. In Asbury Park, Brianna Vannozzi, NJTV News.
Multiple sclerosis is an is an unpredictable, often disabling disease of the central nervous system that disrupts the flow of information within the brain and between the brain and the body. Its cause is unknown, but new treatments can slow its progression. Leah Mishkin reports on this World MS Awareness Day.
What's this, Sean?
Throughout the morning, Vicky Siciliano was doing activities with her 3-year-old son, Sean.
I try to bring it into something that's not just sit and play with, but sit and learn, you know, and that's just what I can do because I sit a lot.
Vicky was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2007, a condition where an overactive immune system attacks the brain, spinal cord, and optic nerves. Vicky's mom, Debbie Smith, told me in the kitchen after our interview she was in denial when she first heard her daughter had MS.
You start to think, what did I do? You know, is it me? Did I not take care when I was, pregnant with her? Is it something genetic that I don't know about?
She has something called primary progressive MS. Only 10% of people have it. Dr. Florian Thomas says for those patients, there wasn't a treatment available to slow down the disease progression until last year when the FDA approved the first one called Ocrevus.
There are different approaches to calming down this overactive immune system. Ocrevus does this by eliminating a certain type of white blood cell, a lymphocyte.
Dr. Thomas says the attraction of this treatment is it's a twice-a-year infusion, which is compatible with an active lifestyle like Vicky's.
We have a lot of fun on the floor.
She had the 2 half doses and then she just had the full treatment last time. And she can stand longer, I know that. When we take him to the little gym, she used to have to sit on a chair. She doesn't do that anymore. She stands there with the crutches, but she stands there.
But Dr. Thomas says the more effective a treatment, the more risk a patient will have from activity. And Ocrevus is an aggressive treatment.
Now that we have over 15 medications for multiple sclerosis, we can tailor a medication to a person's individual needs. These needs are impacted by their perception of risk versus benefit.
And when you have a 3-year-old, it is not his fault that he was born into this, right? So I need to make his environment as positive as I can. Physically being able to lift him and walk with him is impossible for me. But I can lay on the floor with him all day. Like he can roll over me and we do pony rides.
2008 I retired and we bought this house together and I'm downstairs on the ground floor. I'm not down on the floor with him, but I will take him and when he needs it I will hold him and walk with him.
She's a huge help. I can't do this without her.
Dr. Thomas says there are still many things about MS that we don't fully understand yet, but
I think any of the medications that have been introduced in the last 15 years have raised the bar further in terms of efficacy, and I think I'm much more comfortable that many of my patients will reach the goal of dancing at their grandchild's wedding in 2018 than I was 20 years ago.
3-year-old Sean is helping his mom, Vicky Siciliano, to get there.
Sean seems to sense sometimes that she needs a little extra hug or something, and he'll come over.
He's a really, really smart little boy.
In Wayne, Leah Mishkin, NJTV News.
Call it karma. The Seaside Heights nightclub, made famous by Jersey Shore denizen Snooki, and the situation may be forced to close. The borough had already sought an injunction in Ocean County Superior Court to prevent Karma from opening Memorial Day weekend. It did open. A raucous party ensued, leading to 4 arrests for underage drinking and 6 overdose calls. Karma owner John Sadie accused the police of being overly aggressive and said it was they who opened doors separating underage patrons from those over 21, thereby mixing up minors with adults. Now Sadie says he intends to sue Seaside Heights. The mayor says, we don't want that kind of business. There is one prison program in New Jersey that was touted as a national model for the benefits of combining incarceration with rehabilitation, a place where inmates aren't just serving their time, they're getting help that could save their lives. Andrew Schmertz has another side of New Jersey's drug addiction crisis.
So when you're dealing with external triggers, one of the main keys is what?
For inmates at the Mid-State Correctional Facility who are facing numerous addiction problems, the word best used to describe the mood on the inside is hope. Jesse Gerard is a lifelong drug user from alcohol to PCP.
How much was your addiction a factor in ending up in prison in the first place?
Entirely, because I was getting drunk every day, getting high almost every day, and to the point in time where I had no control over my life anymore.
Opened 1 year ago by then Governor Christie, the $28 million facility is the first licensed substance abuse treatment center in the state's prison system. More than 3/4 of inmates are said to have addiction problems, and for many here, this is the most recent stop on an involuntary tour of the state's correctional facilities. Rafiq Salim has been in and out of prisons since 1975.
I've been through all the institutions, Trenton State Prison, Rahway Northern, every prison. And what I learned here about Mid-State, it actually helped me address my drug addictions. For some reason, the other prisons just concentrate on custodial sentences.
Mid-State has 696 beds, and inmates, all men, must be classified as medium risk with a significant addiction problem to be assigned here. They also go through an evaluation by therapists and have to want treatment. The main drugs: alcohol, opiates, cocaine, and meth.
I believe it's the best way. I believe to rehabilitate people is to keep them out of jail.
Tracy Shimonis-Kaminsky is the prison's administrator. She has spent her entire career in New Jersey's prison system, starting as a corrections officer.
There's a very positive energy that exists inside. The inmates are not simply just doing their time. The inmates are committed to their recovery, and I really sense that they are appreciative that we have opened this facility and they're getting the treatment and attention that their substance use disorders really need.
Many of the inmates here are violent offenders, and drug addiction is not being used as an excuse for their behavior.
Most people with a substance use disorder don't engage in criminal activities. I want to make sure that we're clear on that. But there is a subset, and that subset tends to be the subset that we see here because they've had a criminal lifestyle and a substance use disorder, and so they end up in our prison.
1 year in, state prison officials say this facility is a success just because it exists. However, more research has to be done over some time to determine if the program will be expanded. In Fort Dix, Andrew Schmertz, NJTV News.
Charges of animal cruelty. That tops tonight's Garden State Express. Our first stop, Piles Grove, where the opening night of Cowtown Rodeo had tragic consequences. A horse slammed into a fence and collapsed, apparently convulsing. The rodeo said the on-site veterinarian provided immediate assistance to the horse, but the animal rights group Shark says instead of placing the horse on a tractor-pulled pallet, handlers carted the horse out of the ring on what appeared to be a metal rack or fence so the audience wouldn't see the injured animal. The animal rights activists called the horse's treatment rough and disgusting. Cowtown Rodeo calls the death an extremely tragic and unfortunate accident. Next to Egg Harbor Township, where the Forest Fire Service is bracing for another fire season, and even in this high-tech age, there's no app that beats the old McKeetown Fire Tower. The service says there are some 1,400 burns a year fueled by heat, high winds, and human error, especially in summer. When conditions are ripe or the National Weather Service issues a red flag warning, observers staff the towers using a compass and a pair of eyes to triangulate the plume of smoke and call in water-carrying aircraft to douse it, trucks being too slow. The routine hasn't changed much since the tower opened in 1917, except for the airplanes. Finally, Atlantic City, where Revel's replacement is bracing for legal sports betting. The Ocean Resort Casino is not scheduled to open until June 28th, but once it does, it says it's partnered with sports book operator William Hill to operate a 7,500 square foot betting facility on its main gambling floor. Just this month, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down a 1992 federal ban on sports betting. State lawmakers still need to pass laws that regulate and tax it. The Borgata Casino's already announced its plan to offer sports betting on the first day it's allowed. Other casinos are expected to follow suit. And that's the Garden State Express for Wednesday, May 30th. Something up in your neighborhood? Tip us off. And now some noteworthy facts that help you know Jersey. Mid-State Correctional Facility is the first licensed substance abuse treatment center in New Jersey's prison system. Oyster Creek is the nation's oldest operating commercial nuclear power plant. The Movement Advancement Project reports 3.6% of New Jersey's adult population identifies as LGBT, and New Jersey has about 6,000 professional firefighters. If there's someone who you'd like to get to know Jersey, share. Use hashtag KnowJersey. To share any story you've seen tonight, go to njtvnews.org. I'm Mary Alice Williams. For all the men and women of NJTV News, thank you for being here. We'll see you tomorrow.
The members of the New Jersey Education Association, making public schools great for every child. And PSE&G, we make things work for communities.
PSE&G is building New Jersey's clean energy future. We're working to protect our network against extreme weather, expanding and upgrading transmission lines, and modernizing our natural gas system by installing new, more durable underground pipes. At PSE&G, our goal is to make sure you have the safe, reliable energy you need to power your life now and into the future.
In every county across the state.
I do like that Horizon is a Jersey company. It's almost like a sports team. For us, it's like ours.
In sickness and in health.
You never think it's going to happen to you, especially being so young. Horizon has been there for me through everything I've been through.
With experience and stability, we're behind you.
You know, we're hardworking people in New Jersey. Horizon gets us.